Hello and welcome back to this video series. This video in particular is going to be talking about how to enter maintenance records for dirt surfaces. So once you've gotten logged in to the MQS at racingsurfaces.net, you will come to your site list. I'm going to go to the dashboard of my site and it'll bring us to this page. There's an entire video on how to navigate this dashboard. If you're interested, go see that video. This video is going to be talking about maintenance data entry for dirt surfaces specifically. So there's a couple of different ways we can go to enter maintenance reports or a maintenance entry for a day. There's going to be one maintenance entry per day in the system, so you will just continue adding on to that day until it's the next day. If we want to enter a maintenance report for today, for the surface that we have highlighted on our dashboard, all we would have to do is click on this maintenance data entry button and it puts us directly into starting a maintenance record. If we wanted to take the long way around, go back to our dashboard. We'll go to our menu on the left-hand side. Underneath of maintenance, we see maintenance data entry. Click on that. And here's where we can choose which track we want to enter for and which day. So if I wanted to enter for a turf or a synthetic training track, I could choose those here, but we're going to stick with our main track because we're talking about dirt today. So go ahead and press add. So first thing that's going to pop up is your overall daily data. This is not all that you're going to enter. This is not where you're entering your specific equipment that goes out on the track at a specific time or the settings for that equipment. That will come in just a little bit. But first we're going to see here we have the date that we're entering for is today's date. If I wanted to change it, I could change it here. You can only enter for today's date or days in the past. Obviously, you cannot enter for future days because we don't know what that maintenance is going to be yet. So I'll keep it on today's date. You'll check here if you had training on your surface that day. Then you'll choose if it is a race day or a dark day. I'll go ahead and say we're entering for a race day today. I'm going to skip this copy data from and go over that in just a little bit. Then we have these three entries here: race day, training breaks, and races. Race day, you're going to enter the day of the race meet you are currently in. So if I wanted to say today is race day number 5 of the meet, that's what I would put there. Training breaks is how many breaks in your training did you have for maintenance. If you check this box, you should have a number here. Typically, from tracks that I've seen, it's 1 or 2 training breaks. Others may be more or less, just depending on how long your training lasts. I'm going to say we had 2 training breaks. And races, you will put the number of races on the race card that day. So this entry here, races and race day, will only be filled out if you have race day chosen. If it's a dark day, we know we don't have any races that day. Training breaks will only be filled out if you have training checked. If you didn't have training on your surface, you won't have any breaks in your training for maintenance. Number of races on our card are 10. And here's where we can leave an overall comment for the day. So this can be, left surface open after training, floated before racing. Now that will all be laid out in the table below. We could say it rained until 12 p.m. I'll just put that as an example. Also, if you have a lot of information you want to put in here for any reason, you can go over here to these little diagonal bars in the right-hand corner of the line, and then your mouse should change to this up and down arrow, and if you click on that and drag it, hold the click and drag, you can open up a lot more space. So you can type a bunch of stuff. I don't necessarily need to do that, so I'll move that back up to save some space. And once we've got this whole part filled out, we will press save. And then our table pops up below. So this is where we're going to enter the detailed information of what equipment went out, at what time, was it before training, during a training break, after training, before racing, after racing, or just no event. If it's a dark day, typically these no events will happen in the afternoon. So let's get started here. Every row is going to have an individual piece of equipment and event and time. So we will go out here. start with our event. We'll say before training at around 4 a.m. Okay, this time section here, there's bunches of different options. You can click in here and type. You can use these little arrows to go up and down, or you can just click on this clock like I did, and you can drag it around, and then it'll move to the minutes. You can drag that around, but I want it to be 4 a.m. And if it's in the PM, you'll just click on PM, but we want AM. Press OK. Your equipment list will be tailored to your track, your racetrack. So this list can be completely customized by your admin. If you have any pieces of equipment that need to be added to this list or removed from this list, or just the name changed on it so it's a little bit more tailored to what you all call your pieces of equipment, just let your admin know and we can customize that for you. I'm going to say before training, we went out with the conditioner. We went in the wrong direction. 6 rounds or 6 lanes across with 1 time, 1 pass over each lane. That conditioner was set at about 2.5 inches, and we went 5.5 miles per hour. So you will see some of these columns here don't need to be filled out depending on what piece of equipment you choose. Because I chose a conditioner, I don't need to write in this water times 1,000 gallons or yards of sand added because I didn't add any water and I didn't add any sand. So I'll skip those. For the comments, this could be anything comments-wise. We had 2 conditioners following right behind each other. So I have that in here. Now, anytime I fill out a line, I'm a little OCD. I like to press Save Table, so I just know that that line in particular is saved. Our next line is going to be during a training break. So if you notice, I did not fill anything out in this break/race column on the first row because our event did not call us to fill that column out. Here we selected training break. So because we have 2 training breaks, I'm going to say this is during training break number 1 at 7 a.m. We went out with the float with the back teeth down in the wrong direction. We went across 6 lanes, only 1 time over each lane. Our back teeth were set at 2.5 inches and our speed was at 5.5 miles per hour. I don't really have any comments to say here, so I'm just going to go ahead and say update table to save that row. Our next row is going to be during our same training break, but a little bit later at 7:30. We can go out again with that float in the wrong direction, 6 lanes across, 1 time over each lane, 2.5 inches our back teeth are set at, and 5.5 miles an hour. Table. So our next training break, number 2 in this break/race column, because it is training break number 2 at 8:30 a.m. We went out with our float back teeth down in the wrong direction, 6 lanes across, 1 time over each lane, 2.5 inches depth our back teeth are set at, and 5.5 miles per hour is what our tractor was going. We'll update that. All right, so now we're moving on to after training. This is a different event. We don't need to fill out anything of break and race because we're after training in general. I'm going to say this is at 10:30 in the morning, and we went out with our conditioner again. We went in the wrong direction. Again, 6 lanes across, only 1 time over each lane. 2.5 inches is what our teeth are set at, and 5.5 miles per hour. Update that table. Now here, I will go ahead and show you how to use this copy previous row if the next row is going to be fairly similar to the row I just entered. So again, it's going to be after training at 10:30. Most of these are going to be the same. I just have a different piece of equipment. I can go ahead and say yes on this row that I have not entered anything. Yes, I want to copy the previous row, and here we go. We have the exact same row as the one before, so we don't have to type everything individually. But I'm going to go through and I'm just going to change this to a regular float that we followed the conditioner with. And we went 6 lanes across, but we went 2 passes. So you can copy the row above and just change things individually. That saves a little bit of time. I'll go ahead and update table to save that row. So our next row here, we're going to say before race, and because it's before race, we do need to fill out this race column. We're going to say before race number 1 at 11 a.m. We wanted to put some water on the track, let it sit on there and saturate before we went out with any other equipment. So we put some water. We used our water truck. Essentially, we just need to fill out for our water truck rounds, passes, depth doesn't really apply. Our speed, we went 4.5 miles per hour, and this is times 1,000 gallons. So if we put 28,000 gallons down to really saturate it before we get racing going, then we will divide that by 1,000 and we'll just say 28 here. So you don't have to type a bunch of zeros. But however many 1,000 gallons you put, just divide that by 1,000 and that's what you write in here. Didn't add any sand. Don't really have any comments, so we'll go ahead and update that table. Down here, I'm going to go ahead and copy my previous row because it's still before race 1 at 11 a.m. I will change this to 11:30. And we went out with the conditioner in the racing direction. And we'll go ahead and say we went across 5 lanes, keeping that outside lane open for the ambulance, and we went across 1 time each. I'm going to go ahead and delete these water, and I'm going to change this back to 5.5. Okay, save our table. So on and so forth. You would continue doing this for every single piece of equipment that goes out at a different time. If you have 3 conditioners going at 11:30 a.m., you can just put that here, 3 conditioners. You do not have to put an individual row for each individual conditioner that went out on the track at the same exact time. You just need 1 row per specific equipment at that time, if that makes sense. So that's a good example. It does take a while to go through all of this, especially for an entire race day or for an entire dark day. So another thing that we can do, I'll go ahead and go back here. So when I press back, you can see it's still highlighted on that main track and today's date. So now it shows that entry that we just started entering. You can start an entry and go back and continue editing by using this green pencil button. So say you entered morning maintenance and then races start, you get an hour in between racing to go back and enter some more maintenance, or at the end of the day, you want to enter the maintenance that was done during racing, you can come back in here and press this green pencil button and everything is in there for you and you can continue editing as you please. Just make sure if you add anything to the table, you press update table. If you change anything to this upper section, you press update here. Okay, update saves everything above, update table, saves the table. So let's go back. Let's say we want to enter for Tuesday, March 10th, and Tuesday, March 10th is a dark day. So we want to press add, and say our dark days are typically similar in what our maintenance is, as long as the weather is pretty much the same. So if we have a full day of a dark day already entered or a race day already entered, that's where this copy data from function comes in handy. So we can click on this copy data from, and it will have all of your past entries listed in here that is before this date. So the entry that we just entered, March 12th, will not show up in this list because you can copy any maintenance data entry from prior to this date. So I'll go ahead. I know February 20th was a dark day. So I'll choose February 20th because March 10th is also a dark day and I want to save some time by just editing individual items instead of doing it all from scratch. So then I press apply. Copy data. Are you sure you want to copy this data? Yes. Okay, so this is what our maintenance record looked like from February 20th. It was a dark day. There was training on the surface. We only had one training break that morning. The comments said we left it open, and here's our table below here. Now you can go in and you can update anything individually that may have changed. So say during our training break at 7:30, we actually went out just with the float, not with the back teeth down. And I'm going to delete this depth here. But we did go across 6 lanes. We went in the wrong direction. We only went one pass over each lane, and we kept it at 5.5 miles per hour. So that's all I really needed to change, and I'll update our table. So that's that. It can be very easy if you have full days of a race day or a dark day that you just want to copy and edit individual pieces, you can do so. Just make sure that if you change anything, you're saving it by pressing update table. If you change anything in the table, if you change anything in this upper portion, press update. And honestly, right after you copy data from, I'd go ahead and press both of those just so that you save that entry since you did change things from before you copy the data. Okay? So now if we go back and we search for March 10th, we can see there's our maintenance record. We can view the maintenance record by clicking on this eyeball button, and we can see it without having the opportunity to edit anything, which can be good if you're just wanting to make sure what you did that day and you don't want to accidentally change anything, then you can just view it. But if you do need to edit anything again, you can click on this green pencil button and you can go in and actually edit things here. Okay? Again, just really reiterating to update if you change anything above, update table if you change anything below to save. And that is how we enter maintenance for dirt tracks. There is one other thing I'd like to show you all. So to make this even easier, if we go back in here, I'll just show you. So we have two functions within the maintenance data entry to where we can copy the previous row so that we don't have to enter every single thing, and we can copy data from an entire maintenance entry from a previous day. So those are two things that we can use as tools to make this faster and easier. And as you do this, it will get faster and easier as you learn the system, and as you do it a couple of times, it's not going to take you that long. But another thing that we can do is RSTL offers these free PDFs. If you need one, just give us an email. We can email them to you. A lot of you guys have these already. You can make your own if you need. You can write it down on a sheet of paper. This is just an example. But you can print these pages out to where you can write down all of your maintenance throughout the day. I like this setup because it mimics what the setup is here. So we have our daily data up here, like our overall, and that's kind of what's going to be up here. So your track name, what the race day number is. If it's not a race day, you don't have to enter anything. Number of races, if it's not a race day, don't put anything. The date, number of training breaks, if there was training, and general comments. So that's going to mimic this upper portion. Then below, for our table, it's set up the exact same way. So we have each row is a different piece of equipment and time, but we have our event, break or race number, time, equipment. So if the track superintendent or somebody on the maintenance crew that's standing by the rail all day or is in a tractor and knows what's going on, if they fill this out throughout the day, then they can take a picture of it, send it to somebody else to then enter directly into the maintenance quality system because it's laid out the exact same way. So there's not really much interpretation that has to happen. Or you can save it to the end of the day and then you have a log. You don't have to worry about remembering every little thing that has happened. So this is meant as a tool to help you, but at the end of the day, all of this data does have to end up in the maintenance quality system in order for HISA to receive this information, and if you're not a HISA track, in order for it to be logged electronically. I know a lot of people keep these paper logs and have kept these paper logs for a very long time, but these logs just end up in files in a file drawer with dust all over them, and it's hard to organize. And if you're training any new people, you can go back and look at these maintenance logs, but it's a lot easier for somebody new to say, okay, well, what did my superintendent do on a day that was storming all day. We couldn't cancel races, but we had to just keep the track open. You know, it was super wet. What did they do on that specific day? So they could go back in here. Well, let's say we knew March 10th was a similar day to what we're having now, and then they can go in and look at it, and it's all organized electronically, and it's not at risk of being lost or trampled or spilled on, etc. So that is everything you need to know about how to enter a dirt maintenance record. If there are any additional questions, send an email to your admin and we'd be happy to help.